Hello everyone, good evening, happy Tuesday and welcome to Roma Theory. It's that time of the year where European games have a different smell, have a different taste, have a different meaning, have a different description to them, and ultimately also have a different conclusion. It's that stage of the year where we've got knockout games. The nights that have defined our recent future. Our recent past, I would say. These are the nights that have characterized us in the last 5 years. And it's going to be a journey. I think the journey starts here. People will argue, no, the journey started with the group stages. And I agree. But now it's a completely different tournament. I think the Europa League, the Champions League, and these European tournaments are divided into. There's a first half and a second half. And these two halves are very disconnected from each other. This is the second half. This is the one which matters. These are the games that we ultimately live for, prepare for, and I just cannot wait. As I was saying before, it's going to be a journey because in order, hopefully, we can get as furthest as possible. Hopefully, we can get the furthest away or the closest to Bilbao as possible. But we can't tell. We don't know where we will go, where we will be, if we will crash out and everything. And yes, it's our tournament. This is our tournament. This is when we like to shine the most. And in these nights, we tend to do it more often than other nights. So look, I'm going to say this up to you guys. It's up to you. If we want to live this journey together, this Europa League journey together, however it will be, how long it will last, if it's going to be long, if it's going to be short, if we're going to get knocked out from Porto, or if we lose another final or anything, European derby, Roma against Lazio, if we want to live this journey even more connected together and bring back the live watch-alongs, I want 150 likes on this live stream. If this video gets 150 likes on Thursday, we'll bring back the live watch-alongs. And we'll do it. I'll bring some friends over at my house and we'll enjoy the game together, okay? So that's the challenge for you. But right, we have to speak about the game. We have to speak about the game because I already did give a little introduction to this game when we reacted to the draw. Now it's time to analyze the game. Now it's time to analyze how these teams step up to this game, how these teams have tactically prepared this game. Speaking about Porto, players, and of course, one of the biggest themes that we have to speak about is the Porto curse, because Roma have always been eliminated by Porto in their history in these knockout stages, especially with a very complicated past at the Do Dragão, Porto's ground, and the complexities of traveling to Portugal. And then, of course, also looking this game from a perspective of a potential second leg at home. We've got a lot to speak about today. So, yeah, I am ready. And if you're ready, then do all of the things that I always say you need to do. Porto. Porto were probably one of the worst teams to face in the playoffs. Let's not lie to ourselves. Porto, considering who we could have gotten in the playoffs, is probably one of the worst. Which, again, I said this last time, ironically, with the power of hindsight, we can officially say that it would have much been better if we drew against Eintracht Frankfurt than win that game. Because, ironically, having won the game against one of the best teams in the Europa League this season has put us in a more complicated place in the playoffs. Because Porto, I don't necessarily look at Porto considering the past, because Porto is completely different. And this is something that we're going to speak about today. It's not the same Porto that, knocked us out of the Champions League years ago. It's not the same Porto that went well in Europe in recent times. It's a different Porto. So it's going to be, definitely it's going to be easier for us. but it's always a tough team. It's always a tough away game. It's always a tough ground to get a result in against a team which has got European experience, who has got a good past against you. So I would have rather picked another team. But we've got Porto. We can't complain. We have to look forward to this, and we have to have blood in our eyes, poison in our veins to try and get something from the Do Dragão on Thursday. And speaking about Porto, because, you know, as I said before, we've never beaten them in a knockout stage, and it's an alarming statistic. It's an alarming fact. The fact that we've always gotten knocked out by them is significant. Does that put Porto as favourites in this little tie? I'm not sure. I don't want to jinx this, and I'm not being biased, but considering everything, I do tip us being the favourites in this tie, but it's very, very close. I think it's going to be a 55-45% that we go through and Porto go through. Yeah, Porto sold a lot of their players. Porto is a completely different team. Changed manager, of course. The Conceição reign has come to an end last summer. With Conceição, Porto achieved a lot. They won many league titles. They achieved some great positions in European placements, in the Champions League, in the Europa League. I remember they knocked Arsenal out of the Champions League. Was it last year? I think it was last year. On penalties. So look, this is this really is an extremely complicated game. The Porto that knocked us out of the Champions League back in 2017, which then costed Di Francesco the sack, was the last time we played in the Champions League. But that Porto is far away from the current Porto. You know, that Porto had... I remember that Porto side. That Porto side was very, 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 very aggressive. It was a very violent Porto team. They had the likes of Pepe in defense. Of course, they had Otavio, Ronaldo's Portuguese buddy. They had Taremi, who was a beast with Porto. They had, who's that guy that they had? Marega? Is it Marega? Marega, I think it was Marega. Musa Marega. That guy always scored against us. They had a very, very, very solid team. This is a different Porto side. This is a more young Porto side. Their two biggest players are Omorodion. Omorodion is the striker who we were linked with this summer, actually, and then we decided to go with Dovbyk because of the amount of money that they were asking, that Atletico Madrid was asking. He's actually scoring many goals in the Portuguese league. Samu Omorodion is clearly the biggest player. Another very interesting player is Rodrigo Moura. He's a teenager. He is young and he's a midfielder. And apparently he's got, you know, he's a rising baller according to many, you know, like scouting Instagram pages and stuff. They lost two very big players in this January transfer session. They lost Galeno, Wenderson Galeno. In my opinion, had the potential of being probably the biggest player in their squad. And the other guy is, what's his name? The guy which went to Man City. Oh my God, I can't come up with his name. What was his name? Somebody help me. Nico Gonzalez, who signed for Manchester City in this January session. Okay. So they've lost a lot of quality. They're a young team. They're not living an incredible moment, but they're always a team which have gone well in Europe, have got a great past against us and records against us. So this game is going to be, you know, the opposite of an easy game. But looking at us going into the game, and looking at us from a perspective of being aware that we've got a second leg at home, which normally for us is a massive advantage. It's an absolute massive advantage. In fact, I would actually argue that the fact that we've got the second leg at home is the reason which tips us as favourites in this tie. It's a massive advantage. Playing the second leg at home is more important than what people think, especially in a ground like the Olimpico, which is historically known for magical comeback nights. I look at, of course, the one which pops up is Barcelona 3-0, But even that Liverpool win, which wasn't enough for us to get in the Champions League final that same year, but it was a comeback, and it was robbed. We would have gone in a final if that game wasn't robbed. I look at Feyenoord with Mourinho last year. No, the Europa League final year. I look at Salzburg again with Mourinho. I look at even Feyenoord on penalties with De Rossi last year. There are games that the Olympico feels, and the advantage of playing the second leg at home is massive. It is absolutely massive. And we are very lucky that this playoff has a second leg at home because we got ahead of Porto. Because if we do qualify for the round of 16, in all the future rounds, we will have the second leg away from home, which is bad, which is a punishment for not having placed yourself in the top 8. So I think Roma come to this game knowing Roma well. I think we come to this game where I think Ranieri, I think the players, and I think the majority of the fans would sign for a draw. I'm not necessarily saying that we will play for a draw, but I think it's one of those games that, let's say it's 1-1, and let's say we get to the 70th minute where both teams are kind of sterile, they aren't producing much. I think Roma would much rather, if at the 70th minute it's 1-1, and of course Porto will need to attack you because they need to win tomorrow if they do want to have a chance. If it's 1-1 at the 70th minute or a draw at the 70th minute, and you'll kind of allow Porto to attack yourself and park the bus, I don't think we will take the risk of attacking them on a counter-attack, opening up spaces to then risk that we lose this game on a counter-attack. What I'm trying to say here is, if this game has got 1-1 on it at around the 70th minute, instead of actually opening ourselves up to try and win the game, which can then, however, double stab you, because the more Roma opens up, the more we concede goals. We've seen this. I think Roma would much rather accept the draw, keep the last 20 minutes defensively organised and structured, keep the draw and bring it back. So I don't think we'll play for a draw. We'll play to win. We need to play to win. But if at a certain stage this game starts to develop as a draw, I don't think we'll complain. And I don't think we will have this urgency of needing to win this game. Because I say this now, I would sign on a piece of paper 48 hours before Thursday's game. I would honestly say, I would sign for a draw. A draw in Portugal at the Do Dragão? Oh yes, I would sign for it. Bring it back and we will beat them. I'm convinced about this. If we win on Thursday, I would be the happiest man on earth. You know what these games mean for me. You do. I really don't want to repeat this again. This tournament for me is do or die. This tournament for me is life or death. Should I say death or death? Not in a real way, of course, but this game, this tournament, every single game in this tournament is the biggest game of the season. Every game in this tournament needs to have poison, blood, in the players, in the managers, and in the fans, just voice, eyes. This tournament is massive. This tournament is absolutely massive. So I think if we have to lose this game, we can't lose with more than a 1-goal difference. Because until it's 2-1, 1-0, you can capitulate the result, you can come back and you can win. But if it's more than a 1-goal difference, then it starts to become a miracle rather than a possibility and a reality. Which is kind of, it's the example that I gave with Bayer Leverkusen last year. There are games where there's an actual chance that you come back. It's football. You know, there are games where if we lose 1-0 or 2-1, I know that we will come back. But there's a difference between a real comeback and a miracle. You know, that Bayer Leverkusen game was a miracle. It was about to go our way. It was a coin toss at the end, but that Bayer Leverkusen tie, that second leg, was a miracle because we lost that tie at home when we lost 2-0. So there's a difference between reality and miracles. I think if you lose 2-1, it's a reality that we can come back. If you lose 2-0, even 3-1, then it starts to become more of a miracle. Miracles happen, yes, but they happen once in a while. You know, they don't happen every time. So I think the game plan for this game, we will see a very close game. I don't expect an incredibly aggressive Roma on Thursday, as much as I want to see an aggressive Roma. And this is kind of linking the betting tip to people who want to place some money on this game. I don't expect a massive amount of goals. If there's one of the two ties which has more goals, it's the second one. It's not this one. The first tie will have the two teams study each other. And the first tie will have Roma especially less willingness to open itself up and concede counterattacks and leave open gaps because they do have quick players. So yeah, I expect a close game and a closed game on Thursday. So I don't expect many goals. Look, I'll be honest. I don't think we'll lose on Thursday. I think Porto aren't living the best of moments. I think Thursday's game will end as a draw. And then next Thursday we win at home. And we go through to the round of 16. Yes, I do think over the two ties, I do think Roma will go through. But again, on Thursday we can see difficulties. We can, because Thursday's game has got difficulties written all over it. You know, let's not lie to ourselves. Well, yeah, no, I fully agree. Winning is the best option. I fully agree. But there are games where Roma gets incredibly hyped up by the fact that they need to win and must win. And then they can't find a goal. And this wanting to be aggressive leaves so many gaps behind. So, you know, if I need to try to win this game, not being able to win this game, and at the same time take the risk of opening myself up and leave, you know, and giving them the 3 goals, then I would much rather we play attention in this game, close down, not necessarily win, and then bring it back. If that makes sense. I want to win, of course, and I get your point, but sometimes wanting to win can lead to losing because of pressing, leaving gaps behind. The Do Dragao is not a stadium that you want to go and, you know, play nonchalance in. The Do Dragao is one of the most heated atmospheres in Europe, which is why I keep on saying a draw on Thursday would not be a bad result at all. Bring it back. Let them fall in a trap. Draw on Thursday, of course try to win, but draw on Thursday is perfectly fine. Let them come in. Let them come in the Stadio Olimpico in a second leg, in a European tie, in a knockout stage, in front of 70,000 fans. Let them do that. If they're confident they can win, bring it on. Let them eat their little fish and fall in the trap. That's my little match tactical analysis for Thursday's game. My predicted 11 is this. It needs to be this, and it will be this. The only 50-50 doubt is Pellegrini or El Shaarawy. I want to see El Shaarawy in this game. Pellegrini can give more... maybe closure in that midfield. But I want to see El Shaarawy. These are El Shaarawy's games. And I think El Shaarawy deserves it more than Pellegrini, if you ask me. So, look, I mean, That's my predicted 11. And I wouldn't change anything in that. Wrench, minor injury, so he won't play on Thursday. Gurna Duat is not in the UEFA list because we couldn't add everyone and we had other priorities. Salah Eddin won't play. The only difference that I can see from that predicted 11 is Pellegrini instead of El Shaarawy, which could happen. It could. But I want to see El Shaarawy in it. And I don't want to see Pizzilli in this one. And I don't want to see Shomurodov in this one. Something tells me that Shomurodov could start this game. But no, Dovbyk needs to start this game. Not Shomurodov. Dovbyk needs to start this game 100%. That's it. Look, I mean, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is our objective. This is our piece of bread. This is it. It's all or nothing in the Europa League. It's all or nothing here. This is a tournament which needs to be treated with the minimal attention to detail as possible. This is a tournament which needs to be played with a knife through our throat. Concepts of revenge, concepts of these are our nights. These have been our nights over the past seasons. And these are the nights where that light in us shines the most. Even in hard times like this one, these are the nights that paint the sky full of stars. And I want to see, at the Do Dragão in Portugal, I want to see players that I can genuinely see blood clots in their pupils. Because not understanding that this tournament is all or nothing, is do or die, is simply weak mentality. This is it. This is it. From now on, until whenever it will last, the Europa League game is the most important game of the season. It's a journey. It's the start of a new path. It's the start of a path that hopefully will go far. We don't have the certainties that it will go far, but hopefully it will. And as I said at the start, if we want to live this journey even more connected together, I will bring live watch-alongs back in European games starting from Thursday. So if you want live watch-alongs in every Europa League game, stadium vlogs, home or away in every Europa League game, I need 150 likes on this video, and we will do a live watch-along on Thursday. I will bring my friends, we'll have a pizza and a beer, and we will enjoy this game all together. Okay? Let me read a few comments, and then I will end it. Ti sei pettinato con I petardi. Talk about Griezmann. Great player. Without Pellegrini or Cristante in the formation, I see a good result on Thursday. I need to see a faster play by Roma. My friend is saying Chiesa is better than Dybala. He's a Liverpool fan. Can you prove him wrong? He can prove himself wrong, mate. There's no need for me to prove him wrong. I mean, if you think Chiesa is better than Dybala, then you should stick to tennis. Wrench is injured already. The player we got. Yeah, I saw. What are the teams that we could be playing if we manage to beat Porto in the playoff? If we beat Porto in the playoff, it's either going to be Athletic Bilbao or Lazio in the round of 16. It will be fun. It will be fun. There is not one easy game. If we want to lift that trophy, there isn't one easy game from now until that final. Because a potential path to that final can look like Porto in the playoff, Bilbao or Lazio in the round of 16, Mourinho's return to Rome in the quarterfinals, or trip to the Ibrox in Glasgow against Rangers, semi-final at Old Trafford against Man United, or in London against Spurs, or in Frankfurt against Frankfurt, or in France against Lyon, and final against Man United, Tottenham, Frankfurt, or like there's no one easy game. It's the beauty of this tournament. It's the beauty of this journey. I'll catch you tomorrow with Ranieri's press conference reaction. I'll try my best and go live tomorrow, but I won't promise it because I do have a dinner. Otherwise, look, 150 likes and we'll do a live watch along on Thursday. It all depends on you. I will do it. We can live this game together, but you gotta hit the like. So do it. Subscribe, like, hit the notification button so you'll be notified every time I go live or post a video. Forza Roma sempre. It's now or never. It's all or nothing. It's do or die. Bye bye. See you soon. Simo out.